Hello, beautiful souls. I wanted to make this video to spread some hope and to explain to you what's really going on and what's really out there and the fucking magic, the magic, the pure magic that we are involved in. So this video is going to be about, let's see, 3 or 4 experiences that I've had with good and bad abductions, alien abductions. Now, the term alien isn't necessarily the proper term to use because I believe some of these beings are terrestrial. They're just kind of in another resonance, in another frequency. What I've come to find, and this is something you need to understand, is that there are breakaway civilizations that are all over the planet that phase in and out at a vibratory rate between dimensions. If you think about the Earth like an onion, it's layered in these frequencies and dimensions. Well, there's technology where they can tune their craft like a radio dial and literally vibrate into different resonant frequencies, thereby multidimensionally traveling. So these beings, every single time I've had an experience with them, whether good or bad, and it was only one kind of bad experience that I'm going to explain, they're basically traveling around in 3D, in 4D, and probably above, in all kinds of little weird gray areas that we don't know about. So their anti-gravitic vehicles basically are able to phase in and out of dimensions with resonance. That being said, the times I've experienced them, all of them were when I was astral projecting in a what I call a 4D middle astral realm. So let's see. The first one was fucking crazy. I was walking in the middle astral along a dirt road out in it looked like a green pasture to my right, and then there was like mountains on the horizon. I had looked over to my right, and all of a sudden 2 giant craft came over the mountains and stopped near me. And when I mean giant, like football stadium size. All of a sudden then my groin, I felt a pressure. What it was they had put out some kind of a tractor beam to my root chakra and to my sacral chakra, and it basically latched onto me, and it felt like a tight pressure. It was kind of uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. But it lifted me up off the ground, brought me through, no door opened up, it brought me through the side of the craft into a giant open area. There were chairs everywhere with attendants next to them and people sitting in the chairs. Like I said, football stadium size of just chairs and attendants, like a blood giving event or something. And it basically lowered me directly into the chair. There was an attendant next to me, looked human. Except for the thing was, we're in the astral. Everyone was like a little more vibrant, a little more like a shimmer. It's hard to explain. But in the 4th dimension, things are a little more vibrant. There's a shimmer to them. So basically, this chair was like reclined a little bit, and I just sat and I was like so like enamored. But I knew totally benevolent energy, so I just complied. This big arm came and started scanning over me, and it was literally removing blockages from my chakras. When it got finished, and it felt like about 5 minutes, when it got finished, the arm went away. The attendant next to me didn't say a damn word, just smiled at me. Looked totally human, by the way. They were also wearing navy blue uniforms. I didn't see an insignia, but they were all wearing the same uniforms. Just then, a plasma being walked up to me in one of those navy blue uniforms with a number 2, like a lieutenant next to them. The lieutenant looked like a human. The plasma being was literally the suit, the uniform was stationary, while its appendages were undulating. Its head was undulating and moving around. It was like pure plasma. This being was like made of gas and light. It was weird. And it basically stopped in front of me, and it went like this and waved at me. No talking, no facial expressions. I did see like kind of a smile But when it waved at me like that with that undulating plasma hand, I fucking just, the biggest smile on my face. I was just so full of joy. It's just the most incredible memory I have still to this date. They then walked away, and I got up out of the chair and I walked through this huge corridor, and I looked in this room as I walked by, and it was huge long tables like a cafeteria with humans sitting on each side talking to each other. And as I walked by, they stopped talking and they turned and stared at me, and I just stared at them. We just locked eyes as I walked by. I didn't stop, I didn't talk, nothing. That's it. That's the memory I have. And then I came back into my body. I feel like they allot you a certain amount of memory to not, so you don't go insane here in 3D with all these crazy memories. Okay, the next memory was, the only memory I have is being lowered down in a circular energy vortex, lowered down, and I look up and there's a giant cylindrical antigravitic craft above me. Now, this was also my astral body. It lowered me down into my physical body. So that's another memory. Here's another insane one right here. I was in the astral realm and a craft came up to me and landed in front of me, and 3 beings got out. And they had blue, shimmering skin. It was like grayish blue, hairless. They were all wearing uniforms too, also dark blue, navy blue, like the one before. These were a different race, obviously. But there was a female, there was a security, and there was a scientist. And the way I can tell they were a scientist and a security is because of their energy they were putting off. And then also the scientist had technology on his head, some kind of a optic of some kind. And he had other little tools on his uniform. And he was so curious about me. He was like looking all over my astral body. I don't just checking it out for some reason. And then the woman just stood there and smiled and exuded the most pure empathetic energy I've ever felt. And the male, the security one, was just kind of standing there observing, like making sure I didn't do anything stupid, I guess. But and I just intuitively got the download that these were Syrians. And I made a YouTube video about that experience right when it happened. It's on my YouTube channel, link in bio with the older videos. Anyway, third one, not so good. So basically, I astral projected out of my body, and as soon as I lifted out of my body after shooting the photon wave or the kundalini into my brain and imploding my aura, I lifted out of my body, immediately blackness, face down, paralyzed, and there were 2 beings next to me. I couldn't see them. They were definitely men, and I felt forward momentum, like we were moving in some kind of vehicle. Just then, one of them said, "Don't worry, he won't remember this." And then right when that was said, a sharp, sharp, sharp pinching sensation hit my sacrum area, or the base of my spine. And it felt, I'm a recovering addict, I know what needles feel like. It felt like a huge gauge, a big one. And basically, after the injection, I then was put back into my body. When I came into my physical body, my fucking coccyx and sacrum were on fire with a giant charge. It was sparking off, but the difference was it was slightly painful. It had never been painful before. My kundalini charge had never been painful before. This was the first time it was. So I knew this fucking thing was massive. And instantaneous, I was like, oh my God, was that shit real? Like, I literally came back and there's something here in my physical body. So what did I do? I pushed it up my spine. I pushed it up halfway up my spine. Once it got off halfway, it took off like a bullet. It shot, it grabbed my consciousness. I blasted out of the top of my head, and it was blackness with rainbow shards flying down really fast. I panicked, I ejected, went back into my body, and I just sat up and I was just like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? Like, how am I gonna be normal in society after this shit? You know what I mean? But thankfully I have you guys, and it's therapeutic. So it's a symbiotic relationship, so that we know that we're not alone. But there's more too. But basically, I want you to understand this. The astral realm, don't think of it as some kind of like dreamy, etheric place. Like, ooh, no. The more conductive you become with your light body, and the better you implode your aura, 4th dimension becomes as solid and as real as 3D. It really does. Except the matter, the astral matter, is malleable instantaneously with mind there, and heart and will. So whereas in 3D it would take forever to create something or to get up, and you have to have physical action and there's time and delay. Over there it's instantaneous. You can manifest anything instantaneously. You can fly. You can pierce through solid surfaces and walls. Like it's just it's like 3D but a higher vibration of the astral matter. So you can, everything is a lot more quick. So basically you need to understand that. So what you also need to understand is there are a multitude of factions that are traveling interdimensionally. A whole society, multitude of societies and factions are literally operating interdimensionally, and 99.9% people don't even know it. They're literally trapped within the 5 sense frequency band of the visible light spectrum, completely shut off, non-conductive, deactivated chakras, totally imperceptive to this entire multitude, this entire intricate reality that's all around them at all times. It's literally, it's like they're tuned to just like one station on an FM, okay? Except for we're not talking about just FM here. We're talking about all bandwidth of the visible light spectrum and beyond. Fucking ultraviolet, gamma, all of it has dimensions and layers and vortices that lead to each other through plasma wormholes and tethers. The Birkeland currents that connect every single torus, basically, when the positive and negative twist, they create a Vesica Pisces gateway portal implosion that you can travel instantaneously through like an electric charge. So you need to understand that there's just this whole space isn't fake. It's full of plasma, and it's full of vortices, toroids, plasma tethers, an endless sea of energy where there's entire wildlife and societies. You just can't see it because you literally lowered into the lowest resonance of 3D in the cymatics, okay? And it's like you're rooted into the anchor and your consciousness level's cut off. So the whole point with activating the light body is because you originally shot down your consciousness and it anchored into the prism of the chakra system of the human being, and it kind of got cut off from its connection. Well, the whole point is to level back up and reconnect that pillar of light and into those other dimensions to embody your higher self. It's like your consciousness was shot through and then refracted into the human being and got stuck into the 3D. So the planets are basically just like the footprint, man. Okay? There's a whole nother multitude of spectrums beyond, okay? So yeah, it's my personal belief, and from the experiences I've had, the earth isn't flat. It's basically a bionomic toroid, and then it's layered in morphogenic energy fields that are layered out like an onion, okay? And then all these fields interconnect and nest together, and it creates a coherence in the electrical charge of the plasma where the consciousness can then ride through and have experiences through the astrological influences of the energy. So anyway, those are some of my experiences, and the sun's finally coming out, which is amazing. I love you guys. Hopefully that helps somebody. I just want you to know it's so real, and don't give up faith. Don't give up hope. There's so much to fucking live for. It's so magical. It's so beautiful. And I love you all. Stay up, baby.